Every person strives for something in this life: money, fame, love, recognition, respect, pleasure, and so on. And depending on the success or non-success of his actions, he either achieves his goals or not. But success is not an accident, but more of a pattern. I certainly read Nassim Taleb's book, Black Swan, by the sign of unpredictability, and understand that the future is unpredictable. And yet, you must agree, in order to achieve something in life, you need to act competently, according to a plan, taking into account the laws of nature, and not haphazardly, counting on luck. But why should we act at all? Why should we strive for something and achieve something at all? This is the most important question that you and I must answer in this article. I would like to say right away that the unbridled desire for money does not always lead to this very money, while a person's life melts like ice, and if you don't live it correctly, then you will then simply be disappointed in it and in yourself. You can earn millions and billions, and then discover that you essentially have nothing, neither a normal family, nor children who love and respect you, nor love and respect, nothing. And all the people around you want only one thing from you: money. Therefore, money is far from the most important thing in life, but it is also not something worth giving up and should not strive for. You just need to strive with him correctly, according to your mind. Well, let's think together about how we can live our lives so that it doesn't disappoint us, and so that everything is in it. First, let's think about whether we need to strive for money at all. Will this desire make us rich and happy? In principle, you can devote your life to money, but not necessarily. On the one hand, a person achieves success in his life in exactly the matter on which he focuses his attention, but on the other hand, he can strive for some goals and simultaneously achieve others. Well, for example, if you strive for power and achieve it, then you will not have problems with money, because great power allows a person to earn money, or, if you want, appropriate a lot of money for himself. And in addition to money, power also gives a person good protection, because you and I know that big money and those who have it need good protection. In general, if you look at life more broadly, then many goals can be abandoned altogether, as meaningless, or their priority can be lowered. I do not consider the pursuit of money a priority goal, simply because I see no point in constantly chasing something that is always scarce. But money is always short, right? It is better, in my opinion, to achieve something that will allow you to gain recognition and respect from the people around you, which will allow you to increase your status in society, not through the money you earn, but through other achievements. These could be achievements in science, sports, art, power. Great people are not necessarily rich people, but they can become rich because of their greatness. Money can and will certainly become a consequence of your achievements for you. Wouldn't people agree that a great man should live well? They will agree. Do you and I respect those who have achieved significant results in life, in this or that matter, in a more or less honest way? We respect you, and we will not mind that a person we respect, who has done a lot of useful things for the people, lives with dignity and even chic. But the rich, who came to money using not the most decent methods, are despised by smart people. And you and I are smart people, aren't we? Therefore, we hate the rich who became rich at our expense and to our detriment. Thus, the desire for something that will allow us to increase our social status, the most acceptable for the society in which we live, in a way that will automatically allow us to improve our financial situation. We should think about money and strive for it, not first of all. It's just that since we don't want money to live, but we need it, we must take it into account in our plans for life. Only our plans, from my point of view, should be larger, and not aimed exclusively at money. You understand that you need to think more broadly about simply getting drunk from your belly. in order to achieve more outstanding results in life. Then you will have food and much more. And if you are wondering how to develop a desire for money, think about what you ultimately want to achieve in your life. Do you want to be just a wealthy huckster to eat with 3 throats, or do you want to write your name in history, leave worthy offspring, and change the world in the way you need? Your desire will determine what instinct within you is activated and will drive you towards your intended goal. After all, those who only want to have a piece of bread on the table and a roof over their heads have much weaker motivation than those who want to rule the world. And money is, for most people, almost the same as a piece of bread on the table. When a person wants money, he, as a rule, tears his butt for it, and when he wants something more, he tears other people's asses. In general, we must understand that a person needs self-affirmation. He wants to be better than other people, wants to command them, dominate them, wants to have the highest possible status in society. A man needs this. This is his instinct of dominance that manifests itself this way. Thanks to him, he occupies a high status, which allows him to live a quality life. In addition, a man needs to impress women who are naturally drawn to strong males, which is why he tears his ass for money, knowing that with their help he can satisfy many of his needs. This is already a manifestation of the sexual instinct, when the incentive is to obtain a sexual partner with the help of money. And women are interested in such men, because with their help they will be able to satisfy many of their whims. In addition, with a wealthy man, a woman feels more protected. And the man, I repeat, wants to be the most important baboon in his flock, and even better all over the world, to have the highest quality females and have access to the necessary resources. And for this you need strength that will allow him to bring his desires, which are determined by instincts, to life. Money gives such power, so we not only love it, but also respect it. But money, as I already said, is not the best incentive for a person. It is too imperfect. They depreciate constantly, and they can steal them at any moment, and you don't know where and in what, so that they don't depreciate, and so that they don't get stolen. In general, there are many ways to deprive a person of his money, and therefore the strength that it gives him. And if a person who has lost money becomes weak, it means that he has never been truly strong. It is not money that should make a person, but a person should be able to make money. Therefore, smart people know that strength lies not in money, but in a person's ability to earn it. Well, or steal, squeeze, take away. Having money does not make a person completely strong. Money simply provides him with more opportunities to become stronger and gain power. And then everything depends on the person, on how he uses these opportunities. It's just that those who don't have money mistakenly believe that as soon as they get rich, they can relax and enjoy life all day long without worrying about anything. Nothing like this will happen. No one will allow someone who has many benefits and a well-fed life to live in peace. Young hungry wolves will not let you sleep peacefully. I have long been convinced that it is much more expedient not to strive for money, but for something that will allow you to earn it along the way. To the same power, for example. But not all people are tailored to power. I understand this very well, so I can offer you another way to organize your life. Be the best in the business you do. If there is a demand for your work, become, if not the best, then one of the best specialists in your field. If your work is not in demand, retrain for a more valuable type of activity in our time. You can find out who is profitable to be in our time, and who will be in demand in the labor market in the future, from my other articles or on the internet. Spare no expense, time and effort on your own training. It will justify itself. I know people who, in a year or two, have mastered programming, almost from scratch, according to information received on the internet. That is, They taught themselves programming for free and now earn good money through this type of activity on foreign freelance exchanges. Yes, they are not the best programmers. I agree with your comments, if any, but they have become them, and the experience they now gain by doing not difficult, but paid work, will make them even better over time. And there, who knows, maybe one of these self-taught people will end up in Silicon Valley, in the USA, and will work there for a higher salary. Programmers are now in demand all over the world and will be needed even more in the future. This is what you need to strive for. Strive uncontrollably. To make yourself a bright personality, a valuable personality that people will need. If they need you, they will pay you money. Do you agree? Even if not each of us is capable of achieving the heights that successful politicians and large businessmen achieve, but we can become great specialists, respected, valuable specialists, who will be needed and paid well. We are all quite capable of. About 7 billion people now live on Earth, and who knows, maybe more, who counted them all. And most of these people, no matter how cynical it may sound, this is biological garbage. This can be understood by the attitude that the authorities of different countries demonstrate towards their people. But there are few quality people, useful people, necessary people. There were always few of them. And they, apparently, are not needed in large quantities. But here's what's interesting. Everyone wants big money, including the latest scum of society, which does more harm than good. But not everyone wants to be the one who can and should be paid more money. I don't want to pay money to a bad doctor, a drunk mechanic, a stupid teacher, a crazy driver, a forgetful secretary, a lazy builder, and so on. I need a good, responsible, hard-working specialist who can solve my problems and satisfy my needs in the best possible way. Now, put yourself in the place of the world elite or in the place of the ruling elite of a single country and ask yourself, why do you need to improve the quality of life of any degenerate slag that does not even have enough intelligence to think about improving its quality? If a donkey is hounding for sausage and pork swill, why give him something more? And if you also need such donkeys, then you don't even need to improve their quality. Let them be those who can never climb the social elevator up, but can only fall even lower, below the level of the city sewerage system. We need to be great specialists and first-class people in general. And if we are not, then someone else will be. I have heard people say this many times. I don't do anything at work and get a good salary. And what, one might ask, is there to be proud of, that you are losing your qualifications, degrading yourself, becoming someone you won't need? What kind of stupid pride is your own laziness? A person should strive to make himself indispensable, valuable, special, bright, to become white among black, or black among white, depending on what society he lives in. Rarity and exclusivity, appreciated. And there is shit underfoot, of which there is a lot. No. There is no need to be like everyone else, because everything is exactly the same biological garbage that is called a crowd consisting of gray, mediocre individuals, easily interchangeable. It happens that they replace one average accountant, about 40 to 50 years old, whose expiration date has expired, with a new one, about 20 years old. No one will even notice the difference. Previously, there was one ant with glasses. Now there is another ant with glasses. Just as mediocre and uninitiated. Yes, this happens too. And what you wanted, people, is a resource, and only a few of them are individuals. And a good specialist is a person, because he is a special, rare, exceptional person. When I worked for one company, before I went into business, I was the brightest employee in it, the most valuable and the most useful, according to its management. I increased sales of this company several times over a couple of years, simply by working, really working, and not fooling around. But I did not work for the sake of this company, although its management treated me well, and especially not for the sake of money, which can always and everywhere be earned, but for the sake of myself, to improve my quality. I was honest, hardworking, learning, active, self-critical. I thought about the result of my work, not about money. I treated money as a natural resource to which I always had access, as well as the same air that you always have and which you can breathe if you have something. And I was paid. They paid me well. They offered me positions. They asked me not to quit. They valued me. And if you are valued, if you are needed, won't they share profits with you? Won't they pay you? Of course they will pay. I am not bragging, but showing you that in striving for certain goals, a person, as they achieve them, achieves other goals. He receives respect, recognition, a certain status, in society, at work, in the family, and of course he is paid good money. Or rather, he earns them himself. Business is closer to me, because I can't stand it when someone is above me and commands me, but in general, you can achieve impressive success in hired work if you try not for the sake of Uncle Vasya and not for the sake of money, but for yourself, for the sake of your ability to achieve your goals. For the sake of the ability to solve complex problems, you can also say so. You can satisfy your need for self-expression, not only through the power that a person is given, power and money, but also through the respect that you will receive thanks to certain achievements in life. And people respect those they fear and those they admire. If you can't, because of your character, become someone who will be feared, or just don't want to, become someone who will be admired. Take the same Bill Gates, one of the founders of Microsoft, whom, no matter how he runs his business there, most people admire. Does he deserve respect? I think it deserves it. I respect this person, and therefore, to the best of my personal qualities, I admire him. He created a product that the whole world uses. It turned out to be useful for people, and thanks to this he earned his billions. Now let's look at another person, Roman Abramovich. Does he deserve respect? He, of course, made considerable efforts in his life. He developed, studied, made connections with the right people in order to get what he has now. It was certainly no coincidence that he came to his money. Well done. But how did he earn them? What useful things did he do for people to earn them? Nothing. You yourself, I hope, know what his merits are, not to us, but to yourself. Yes, well done. He turned out to be cunning. He managed to snatch his piece. But you can't call him a genius. And even more so, you can't call him a person whom creative people can admire. Thieves and swindlers can admire him and follow his example, but not builders and creators. So, two different people, both are not saints, both have sins, both of them seem to have been uncontrollably striving for money, and both of them achieved their goal to one degree or another, but each of them earned their money in different ways. One created and earned, the other made a fuss and stole, or rather, appropriated benefits for himself. One is respected and admired by him, the other is envied by people like himself, and hated and despised by those whom he essentially robbed. The motivation, I'm sure, was also different for each of them. Can we say that Bill Gates thought exclusively about money when he created his operating system? I think not. He was certainly interested in them, but they were only a shadow of what he wanted to achieve. After all, money can be earned in simpler ways, and it is to simple ways of making money that our brain strives. Therefore, if a person is motivated solely by money, he does not create, but steals, deceives, or, if he does not have enough intelligence and courage to deceive and steal, he spends all day for money. If this man, Bill Gates, were obsessed with money and thought only about it, it is unlikely that he would leave Harvard and start his own business. Most likely, he would have completed his studies, received a diploma, and then went to get a job in some large company to play for his uncle there for a good salary and climb the career ladder up, all his life. This is what people do, motivated solely by money, because a person striving for money and no longer thinking about anything and seeing nothing around him, is a zombie. And these are the kind of money-obsessed zombies who are ready to do anything for money that those who rule the world need. Indeed, thanks to people's belief that they can get rich and gain independence by being obsessed with money, he allows the ruling elite, by picking up the nostril of these zombies with his fingernail on his little finger, to lead them where it is beneficial for the elite to lead them. So I warn you that the desire for money is someone else's game according to someone else's rules. But it's impossible to win such a game. You can only play it constantly, in the hope of winning. Do you understand the difference? And those goodies that you will receive as a reward for your efforts are not always worth the time and effort spent on the process of striving for money. Therefore, those who rule the world are interested in the majority of people striving for success, and to advertise their system of monetary slavery. They allow only a few to achieve this success, through the desire for money. Perhaps you will become one of those who will be allowed to win this game in order to make you a beautiful showcase for other players, for other zombies. But I think it's better to play your own game, according to your own rules, focusing on your individual qualities rather than on the external resource that is money. In general, friends, think about what place and how you want to occupy in this world. I understand that status is important for men. They need to be and feel cool to feel good. It is women who want to be loved and desired, and it is important for a man to be the main thing, the best, in short, the very best. Both every man and every woman sees the solution to their problem differently. Men can show that they are men, earning more and more money, and women can do business until they are blue in the face, to the detriment of raising their children, who, due to the lack of attention to them, grow up to be degenerates and losers, just to show that they are no worse than men. As a result, both of them will play someone else's game until their hooves are thrown back. I think it's important here not to go to extremes and not make clowns out of yourself, but a circus out of your life. Don't let your irrepressible thirst for money destroy your human self. Who needs moronic show-offs when, for example, in 15-degree frost some idiot is driving in a convertible car, or when the same idiot in the village drives around in a limousine through shit and dirt? Only morons need such show-offs. And women too, need to think about the meaning of their desire for money, to the detriment of raising their children. I understand that money is needed, including for children, but excuse me, dear ladies. Why do you give birth to children at all if you don't want to make people out of them? For the slaughterhouse, for the trainees in the morgue, for the drug lords, for the alcohol and tobacco mafia? Who needs the weak, the stupid, the moral monsters unfit for life and all sorts of aggressive gopota? By whom, but as savages, this world has always been rich. I've always been amazed at how people don't try to understand the meaning of what they do. If you earn money in large quantities, but at the same time your whole life is a continuous job, 10 or more hours a day, if your children do not see you all day long, if your work does not allow you to come to some outstanding result, but is just a consequence of other people's instructions, that is, you work not according to wishes, but out of necessity, then, excuse me, why do you need money? No, seriously, why do you need money? You don't see life because of them. Oh yes, I completely forgot to enjoy it. Well, what can you say to such people then? Perhaps, is nothing. Work further, strive for money, give birth to slaves for the system, imbeciles and degenerates. Fill society with shit, from which you yourself will then suffer. If pleasure is your everything, then you won't even want to understand everything I said in this article. Well, for those of you, dear readers, who grasped the essence of my thoughts, I wish to realize my inner potential and become those who, against the backdrop of a huge amount of gray mass, will shine, and whom people will admire, and not despise and hate. When I knew nothing about money, but I was sorely lacking it, I dreamed of having it and was ready to do a lot for it. Where did my aspiration take me? Correct, to work. Did my work make me feel human? No, she made me feel like a dumb slave. Maybe she helped me get rich? No, it didn't help. That's why it's a job, to make rich the one who provides it, and not the one who works for it. But work helped me develop and become stronger, but only when I stopped thinking about money, but thought about myself, about my own quality. Thinking about money, we degrade, and thinking about ourselves, we develop. Like this, the unbridled desire for money is the path to spiritual degeneration, creative impotence, intellectual failure and personal destruction. Money is a tool in the hands of those who know that it is simple, compound feed for slaves. Understanding this, we do not give up money and do not choose a poor life. We simply change our strategy for achieving success in life. This is very important to understand. Otherwise you will think that I am advertising poverty for you here. Like, it's easier for a camel to get into a needle's ear than for a rich man to go to heaven. No, I'm not suggesting that you give up money, under any circumstances. In fact, I explain to you how not to treat money so as not to be its slave. Or rather, how not to be a slave to those who squeeze you like a lemon with the help of money.